Okay, so this question is all about how we absorb nutrients from food. And what we, let's just say, and also the journey of food. You said the voyage. I love that word, that question, that voyage of food. So we're just going to review the voyage of food, and that's the digestive system. And the voyage of food and then the point of absorption is really key to it, because we think about, everyone goes, eat your greens and, you know, get your vitamins and minerals and eat your food well and all of that. And this is the journey. So shall we assume that we are eating beautiful protein, a nice lean piece of fish, or if you're vegetarian or vegan, that you're having some beautiful pulses and grains and tofu. So whatever you're eating, we're going to assume that rather than, but we will look at, what we'll do at the end is we'll sort of say, this is if you're eating, you know, crisps and Coke and chocolate and McDonald's. You'll see how obviously this doesn't nourish us. And so a good clean diet. I mean, let's also consider that a little bit of sugar is absolutely fine, but not tons of sugar every meal, because we'll talk a little bit about the pancreas within this, because if you're having sugar all all day, your blood sugar levels are going up and down and up and down, and they sort of give you energy and then you crash, and then the energy and then you crash, and your pancreas that is producing insulin and glucagon is actually going sort of like, oh yeah, do you need me? Yeah, you need me, or you don't need me. And rather than the pancreas going, oh, we'll just sort of deliver a little insulin, and oh, you need a bit of glucagon, and oh, you need a bit of this and you need a bit of that. If you're having sugar, it's going very erratic up and down with its production of those hormones. In addition to that, if we're feeding sugar into our system, into the gut, it's not very happy in the microbiome, and it can get candida, like a fungal infection. It can feed a fungus, which is also not good. It makes it very sluggish and very poor digestion. So let's assume that we're eating really healthy, beautiful food here. So in it goes. First of all, we should be chewing a million times. Certainly, I don't know if this always makes me laugh. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the film Nuts in May by Mike Leigh, with Candice Marie and her husband on a camping holiday. Have you ever seen anything like that? No. If you haven't, it's well worth it over Christmas. If you can find it, it's called Nuts in May, and it's by Mike Leigh, and it's such a good film. I don't know if you ever, Mike Leigh wrote some really good plays, actually. He wrote Abigail's Party. Have you seen Abigail's Party? These are plays that are like, have you seen Secrets and Lies? It's a movie called Secrets and Lies. Okay, so they're very, very satirical humour, very funny, very, very funny plays by Mike Leigh. Anyway, do check them out. But in this play, she talks to her husband about how much he should chew his food. But anyway, Deepak Chopra also says, first of all, we should only be eating that much. That's what Deepak Chopra says. We should only be eating that much food, and that we should be chewing at least 20 times each mouthful. Can you imagine? Note to self. I try my best, because what happens in the mouth, first of all, that's super important, is we secrete an enzyme called amylase, which is salivary amylase, and that breaks down starches and acts upon starches within the mouth to break them down. And then once we make the bolus, do you remember that word bolus? Once we make this very masticated, chewed up food, it's really much easier to pass through the digestive system, and it makes our digestive system much happier. So point one is really to chew your food. And if you're going to have crisps, chew them really, really like loads, because if you just chew, swallow, it makes the whole digestive system have to work really, really hard. And that's what causes bloating, and that's what causes a lot of problems for the digestive system. So what we have is the bolus that then goes down the esophagus into the stomach on the left-hand side. If you remember, just a little note is that the esophagus is smooth muscle and it has a peristaltic movement. And so it goes down into the stomach, and in the stomach we secrete enzymes like hydrochloric acid and other digestive enzymes that break stuff that we're eating, breaks the particles down. So it's acting upon either the fats, the starches, and breaking it down to a point where it becomes what's called chyme or chyme, however you want to say that. And the chyme or the chyme is broken down into a paste. And this lovely paste then leaves the stomach, and we have pepsin and other digestive enzymes that churn the food, and then it passes into the duodenum, which is the first part of the intestines. So also as part of the duodenum, we have an entry point from the liver that's produced bile, then stores in the gallbladder. And the gallbladder has what's called the common bile duct, which can secrete and put bile into the small intestine. And then we have the pancreas that also has the pancreatic duct. So not only does the stomach, the pancreas and the gallbladder, they all secrete their pastes and their fluids and their enzymes into the top of the intestines, which is called the duodenum. So in it goes, and then it's going to go into the duodenum and the jejunum, and this is the central part of the intestines, the small intestines, which is 7 meters long. 7 meters long, and a tube with such in peristaltic muscular wave-like contractions that moves this chyme and all its other components. We also get from the liver old worn-out blood cells, and we get other components that are passed into the digestive tract. But this is now the bit about where the goodies are absorbed, and we have in the large intestine, we have what's called villi, and it looks a little bit like a brush, if you like. And these are called villi, which are highly vascular. Oh, well, you can have red with my Christmas nails. The red is like a lot of blood, yeah? These capillaries that are wrapped around and working, embedded within these villi. And do you remember we said that capillaries are permeable? So they're super permeable. And what happens is the chyme, so here we have the circle with the brushes of the villi inside it. The chyme, the liquid is passing through it. And the chyme, with all our goodies and nutrients, because we've had a really healthy diet, and our chyme is full of fibre and vitamins and minerals and proteins and all the goodies, even though they're broken down into this pasty consistency, is picked up by the blood in the small intestine, in the central part of the small intestine, goes into the bloodstream, and that is how we get our vitamins and minerals into the bloodstream. So when we look at the composition of blood and it says vitamins and minerals and amino acids and hydration is another story, but because there's many ways in which we are hydrating. But you will also have water absorption through the intestines as well. And that's how it enters. That's the only way food is absorbed. So it's not absorbed anywhere else other than the villi in the small intestine. Then it goes into the lower part. So continuing the voyage, just to finish your question 3, is that it then, once we've absorbed all the goodies and the goodness, what essentially you're left with is, let's call it waste. Now, it's not, I mean, sometimes it's really like, it can be like yucky waste. If you are eating yucky, if you have a, Haribo or something, there's not much goodness in Haribo, but it still has to go through the digestive tract. And so, if there's any goodies from Haribo, we will absorb it. But if not, and so that's why a lot of fibre is really good, because it gathers the mass that is then going to enter into what is now the large intestine, with lots of fluid and goodness. And so from fibre and roughage that goes into, and cellulose, good fibres that go into, through the ileocecal valve, into the colon and the large intestine. And it goes, first of all, travels up the ascending colon on the right side, and then it makes its way and it gathers mass, and it's forming the mass that we're going to excrete. And by the time it then moves across the transverse colon and down the descending colon to sit then in the small bowel, gathering its form and mass, is that we then get a message to the brain that says, you need to empty your bowel. And that's the final part, is when you go to the loo and you empty your bowel. And what you have there is a mass of, do you remember we looked at it, is the old worn out blood cells, is fibre, cellulose, water, fibre, and that forms the mass. Now, what we sorry to talk about poo on camera, but we want it to be soft and easy to pass, and we want it to be well hydrated, because we want to eliminate that quite easily through the body, and we want a regular passageway. We want a regular flow through the digestive system. So that's why we need to be eating, good fibre, good sources of fibre, well hydrated, and that's the voyage from beginning to end. But as we nourish ourselves, we should feel high in energy. So we're picking up energy, and we're picking up sources of fuel and energy and all the vitamins and minerals and nourishment that we need, really, to fuel ourselves. Because just talking a little bit about the quality of food is that, we need to have as best quality of food that we can possibly get, free of packaging in microplastics, because that adds to sort of toxicity, and then it sort of lessens the value of the nutrition. And we want to try and eat as organic as we can, if possible, so that it's very high nutrition, rather than, bound in plastic and sort of shipped around the world and kept for a month before it actually arrives with us. I mean, that's not always possible, but wherever possible, the higher the quality and the higher grade your fruit and veg and food is, and as organic your meat is, the more the more sustainable it is in the world, but also the better quality energy and the better quality source of nutrition. And also the quality of the soil that your food is grown in will also determine how high a selenium, zinc, whatever nutrient content is also determined on the quality of the soil and the growers. So that's really how we can maximize. And if you can't do that, then that's why sometimes supplementation with a very good quality supplement, like a multivitamin and mineral, will give you and have you replenished with those high content. That's why some of these, I mean, some powdery drinks are good. I mean, there's one by Dr. Schultz's Superfood. That's a very high good source of your greens. If you're not getting enough greens, that product's very nice. Amongst others. I mean, I like Solgar, I like BioCare, Nature's Own, is it called, or Nature's Best or something? You know, so just a good quality supplement if you don't feel that you're getting enough nutrition. And you'll know if you're not getting enough nutrition because you'll be tired all the time, or your skin won't be as vital and as clear. And I mean, mainly tiredness and lethargy and mood swings and moodiness, and those sort of aspects of our behaviour are impaired by poor nutrition and lack of nutrition. Does that answer your question? Good.
That helped a lot, thank you.
I love that question, thank you.